What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mike Dolce Show. Today, we're talking about some heat, baby. Some beef between former two-division UFC world champion Daniel Cormier and BMF title holder, for what that's worth, Jorge Masvidal. Well, what am I talking about? There was some back and forth recently about comments Cormier made discounting Jorge Masvidal's title shots against new UFC welterweight champion Leon Edwards. Let me break it down to you right now, but consider clicking the links below this video. Get your blood work done at MarekHealth.com. Pick up extra virgin olive oil at Casandrino's and get some of that certified Piedmontese grass-fed beef at Piedmontese.com. Click the links below to learn more. Let's get straight into it, my friends. Now, right here, this is going to our good friends at MMA Junkie. Daniel Cormier, Jorge Masvidal argue after comments advising Leon Edwards to big league Masvidal. Now, Daniel Cormier has a segment on ESPN called DC and RC. It's a commentary. It's talking head, basically fight information, and they give their opinions. Just to give some context, Cormier was talking about Leon Edwards' next opponent, and Masvidal's name came up. This is what DC said. Bro, don't fight him, Cormier said on his DC and RC ESPN show, because for 2 years, when he was the man, he could not say your name. This is true. Now, all of a sudden, he's like, if you become champ, he wants to put an end to this thing. He should not fight Jorge Masvidal, DC says. He literally should just big league him and not even say his name, because why would you do that when a guy snuck you backstage but then never fought you? Now, all of a sudden, you're the man and he wants to fight you? DC goes on to say, I like Masvidal. He's a really good dude. But it's like, come on, George. We've got to do better than that. Now, Masvidal comes back and counters, goes after DC. Now, this is giving context. A few years ago, maybe 3 or so years or so ago, Jorge Masvidal, Leon Edwards both fought on the same card over in the UK, and there was a little beef because they're both welterweights. They both have some heat. They're both strikers. They're both surging. Whatever happened backstage, Masvidal legit sucker punched Leon Edwards. Pop, sucker punched him backstage after their fights, like in the production area, which it is what it is. Masvidal did this. Now, Masvidal is happy to tell everyone he is the king of the sucker punch. He sucker punched Kobe Covington, allegedly, but he's openly said, like, that's what he does. He sucker punches people, which I don't really get that. Masvidal's a tough guy, but that does show a bit of cowardice. I would stand up someone, fucking, draw the line in the sand and go to town, or just get Dana to schedule a fight. Dana, the UFC would have put that fight together. The dudes would have made some cash. I don't understand the whole sucker punch thing, by the way, but, I grew up a little bit differently. Now, to go on, Masvidal then says, and I'll actually show you from his Twitter. This is Masvidal's Twitter responding to the ESPN video commentary of Daniel Cormier. Masvidal comes on and says, guess you're still butthurt since I didn't do the interview you requested on your week YouTube channel during my fight week. Sorry about that. There you go. During my fight week. I know you needed my name to produce some sort of views since Ariel went solo and you became a has-been. Just make sure when Dana calls and tells you to promote the biggest fight the current champ can make in the division, which is me, wear your best suit from DXL and make sure you do as you're told, like a good boy. Maybe you'll get a treat from your master. This is what Masvidal goes on to say. Now, I got to make a statement here. Masvidal on Twitter has 847,000 followers. That's not bad. That's not bad. But Daniel Cormier has 1.3 million followers. So Masvidal saying that DC needs Masvidal to gain more attention, that's, I don't think that makes sense. DC's got 1.3 million. Masvidal's got 800 some odd thousand. I mean, DC's got his own TV show on ESPN. He's a commentator for the UFC. DC's out there. Whether you like DC or not, like his commentary or not, like Jorge or not, it's just fucking childish shit. I mean, in my opinion, anyway, what I'm talking about it here, so I guess I'm getting some clicks. Anyway, DC goes on to say, Jorge, you've always been the man. Malky, typo, Malky, stay off his page. I stand by what I said. You don't get unlimited title fights. Beat Gilbert Durinho, my buddy, get to 1-3 in the last 4. Masvidal's on a 3-fight losing streak. That's a skid, not a streak. And maybe get a title shot. See, Malky, now you got me disrespecting my friend Jorge. So what is DC talking about here? DC is talking to Jorge Masvidal's manager, Malky Kawa, who runs First Round Management, which is one of the top management agencies in combat sports. They also work with NFL athletes. I know Malky. I'm friends with Malky. I'm very good friends with his brother, Abe. I like all these guys. I like Jorge. I like DC. I like Malky. I like all these guys. I like everybody, but goddamn, it's a little childish. A lot of this shit's a little childish. Now, I understand they're getting heat, right? They're getting heat, and Jorge's probably pissed at DC. Jorge thinks he could beat Leon. Jorge wants the title shot, and rightfully so. I get that. DC's not wrong that Jorge could have fought Leon Edwards anytime in the last 3, 4, 5 years and never did. Leon Edwards has been undefeated. I think he's on a 10-fight, 11-fight, 12-fight win streak, something like that. They should have fought legitimately years ago. Masvidal's on a 0-3 skid right now. Hey, it happens. 0-3 skid is what it is, though. It's really hard to climb back into title contention on an 0-3 skid. Now, Masvidal versus Durinho, great fight. Masvidal versus Covington. There's more heat with Covington and Masvidal than Masvidal and Leon Edwards. More heat for sure. The bigger fight is Masvidal-Covington, but Covington blew out Masvidal the last time they fought. I mean, Covington won 5 rounds, dominated Masvidal. So that fight probably doesn't make as much sense competitively, but there's more heat because Masvidal allegedly sucker punched Covington in a restaurant in Miami earlier in the year, allegedly, of course, and that trial is still pending, right? That litigation is still going on. Who does George fight next? Well, it makes sense for Masvidal, in my opinion, who's still a contender, to fight Gilbert Durinho, who recently lost to Kamaru Usman, or recently lost to Hamzat. Lost to Usman, then lost to Hamzat. So Durinho's on a 2-fight skid. Masvidal's on a 3-fight skid. They both lost to Usman recently. They were both number 1 contenders. Durinho has a razor close loss to Hamzat. Man, Durinho and Masvidal is a great fight to get back into that conversation. Now there's also the dark horse. The biggest fight by far for Leon Edwards is Nate Diaz. Why is that? And I want to hear your comments below. What do you think? Is Nate Diaz a big fight? Let me explain why. Nate Diaz is the biggest needle mover in the welterweight division, likely the biggest needle mover outside of Conor McGregor inside the UFC. Nate Diaz has not done very well in his last, few years of fighting, but people still want to see Nate fight. Nate is still electrifying. He's exciting. He always brings it. And Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards have some heat. If Nate Diaz beats Hamzat, that immediately catapults Nate right back into title contention, and I think that's the fight to make. I don't want to see Leon versus Usman just yet. Give Usman someone else. Let Usman fight Hamzat. If Hamzat comes back, gets a win over Diaz, then put those two together. Usman versus Hamzat would be great. So anyway, what do you guys think? Is DC and Masvidal, or are they just being petty? And who should Leon Edwards fight next? Definitely leave comments below. I want to hear about it. And until next time, boom.